Well,
I always enjoy these.
we haven't been here in a while.
Right. It's been a month and some change now.
Mhm.
Weekends got busy,
Stuff happens.
birthdays, this and that. That's life, though. That's good.
Mhm. But we are back to have a conversation here,
We are back.
and let's just do that. So it looks like we're
Yes.
clear here. I'm just checking to see what we look like here. Everything's kind of pristine.
Yes. So today's conversation is a little different. We're gonna go off the scale on this one. So before we even get busy and super talkative, who are you again, sir?
I'm Akeem Alston. Some people know me by a different name, but
True.
this is the one I have now.
Yes.
The one I'm going to die with.
Yes.
I was given the name Akeem during the pandemic. I
Correct.
spent the first month of the pandemic in Nigeria.
Correct.
I'm Nigerian. My ancestors were stolen from Nigeria. They were, right? So I'm Nigerian. Akeem is a Yoruba name. I'm
Correct.
Yoruba. Means the brave one. Akeem Alston. And you are?
Anderson Alston. And by the way, the brave one is very fitting. Very, very, very,
It was. I didn't pick
Very-
the name.
very fitting.
It was given to me. Right?
very courageous.
Mhm.
Yes.
The brave one. Yeah. Akeem
Yes.
Anderson. Father and son. Right. So.
Yes. So before we get to where you want to go, I just have one thing I want to say.
Mhm.
Did you watch the NCAA championship game?
I didn't see the championship game.
It was neck and neck. I was thinking of you the whole time I'm watching it. It came.
Yeah.
It was 65-63.
Oh,
Florida won by 2.
wow.
It was anybody's game the last 2 minutes.
That's what you want.
Yes,
And
I
they were
agree. And it
both
was good
They're
basketball.
both number one seeds.
Yes,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
It was all in all, it was good.
Yeah.
That was on my mind since I watched the game. So I just had to get that off.
Yeah.
Okay, so where
but that was the best bracket that I've ever done.
It
I
was
mean,
a solid.
my
and
bracket
I thought Duke was
good.
gonna go all the way. Cooper Flag and them boys. I thought they was gonna run tail this year, but
I mean,
that's
I
okay.
had 5 of the elite 8.
Yeah,
I had 5 of
and
those.
that's impressive.
I had 2 in the Final 4.
Yeah,
I had Duke winning it all.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I had a really good bracket this
and that
first
Duke game
year.
was crazy. They came back the last 5
Yeah.
minutes. Oh, we.
Yeah, that kid Flag with Duke.
He's serious business.
He's different.
Yeah.
He's a freshman.
And then the Coopers, you have from different sports. You have Cooper DeJean, you have Cooper Cup, you have Cooper Flag. Cooper's just the name to have right now.
Name your kid Cooper.
Yeah, name your kid Cooper. You're gonna be super.
There you go. Wow. That was good.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. So where are we going today? You had
April 2nd. What?
ooh, this young gentleman right here, right,
Yeah.
is no longer 62. How old are you now?
63.
When did you turn 63?
April the 2nd.
So very recently.
Recently,
How
yeah.
has 63 felt for the last week and a half that you've been 63? Have you felt any different? Have you had different thoughts since having the
Well,
birthday? Have you had any conversations with anybody about anything?
Here, let me just show you.
Okay.
Because
We're in for a treat.
pictures a really good way. So I'm going
True.
to show you
Very true.
just how I've been feeling. Look at the app.
Okay. I can read it off to you guys.
See here.
The last since the last 2 weeks.
So
Every change.
every
You've got more than 10,000 steps.
over 10,000 steps
easily.
that day I took off. So my
Yeah,
average,
yeah.
my average this month is about
I'm not listening.
that's yeah,
Today
yeah,
we're
today.
today we're sitting at what's that? 10,420.
yeah 10,427, and I got those steps in before noon. I get
I was
up
about
in the-
before noon.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all. This is all morning.
That's
stuff.
somebody's whole day right there.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah,
So
this
and good
morning.
for you. And good for you.
So it says my 7-day average is 9,110 steps, right? So that's how I feel at 63.
That's very good. That's very good.
Motion is lotion.
Yes, it is.
Right. Calisthenics
Yes, it is.
is the cure. Calisthenics is the cure, and food is my medicine.
Yes.
Right?
The
So,
kitchen is supposed to be the hospital.
yeah, either
not the hospital.
move it or lose it. So
Yeah.
I can still get about 50 good push-ups. I can get about
That's impressive. That's
10
impressive.
of these, and then about 8 of these.
Yeah.
And I do calisthenics every day. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I mean, because
we gotta be in this body. We might as well enjoy
move
being
it or
in the
lose
body.
it. Move it or
Exactly.
lose it.
I love it, sir.
Yeah, so I
That's
feel good.
a blessing.
I
That's
feel
beautiful.
great. Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. All right, so we're gonna do a little different today. I'm gonna give you the ropes, and we're gonna see where we end up today. We're gonna move it like that.
I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about I don't know what happens. I think sometimes as I've gotten older,
Yes, sir.
I get nostalgic
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to be careful, kind of a little bit of sentimentalism with some emotion mixed in, right? So, you know, my mother, she died a year ago.
Correct.
This month,
Yeah.
April 25th. So, Mama died. Daddy's
Yes,
92.
sir.
And so I'm kind of feeling those things. So that's kind of coming up.
Yeah.
But you know, I kind of feel like I'm at an age now that I'm a year older, and I've been this way for a while.
Right.
I think more about what life looks like when I'm gone, when I'm off the scene. I don't.
And that's
think so
not a
much-
bad thing.
No, it's not. I
It's
just
healthy.
think more about what other people get when I leave, and condition that I leave this world. This little part of it that I played.
Yes,
what
sir.
does that look like when I'm gone?
Yes, sir.
And so I want to talk about fatherhood for a little bit.
Let's go.
And I think fatherhood is a recurring theme here. I mean, this is father and son.
True.
The whole father thing is big for me because I don't want to get into all of it, but I didn't have a great fatherhood. I mean, I didn't have a great father growing up. My father was brutal, he was cruel, oppressive. He wasn't nice to me, my siblings. He wasn't kind to my mother, and I had to watch that for years. So I didn't really have a great father. I visit him every now and then. It just still triggers me to even see my father. So we're not close. We can visit and kind of be okay. But
better than you have been in years past.
yeah,
Which is still still a plus.
Yeah, I mean, I can see him and be okay.
That's
but,
good. Healthy.
But that's about it.
Yes,
There's
sir.
not a whole lot between my father and I.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes people think that my father had a bad father.
Right.
My father had an amazing father. I think my father was just like a different seed. Kind of like, he was just a little different.
Different
Yeah,
cloth.
yeah. He was just different.
Different
So
cut, yeah.
my grandfather, my father's father, Anderson, that you're named after.
Yes, sir.
He was an amazing man. He was an entrepreneur. He had
Family
businesses,
man,
family
hustler.
man. He owned property in California, North Carolina,
Wise,
Michigan, Washington State, where he resettled us.
Right.
He was from North Carolina. He was just an amazing human being. Everybody loved my grandfather. My father revered him. He was really close to his father.
Wow.
And so that's why I named you Anderson. He was
Right.
just like an amazing man. And we need men in our communities, especially during these challenging times, who stand up, show up, and just really, be there for their families and in our communities. We really need people like that these
100%.
days, almost like never before.
Yeah.
And so my grandfather was a great man. My father had a great father. They were really, really close. My grandfather's father, this is him right there. His name was Henderson Alston.
Yes, sir.
And that's the first of our family that was born free. So he was born during Reconstruction. So Reconstruction is the period in our country from 1865, 1879, 78.
Not far, but
Yeah, it was like
before the 1900s.
a 10 or 12-year period after the Civil War. It's got Reconstruction. Well, they were born during Reconstruction. They were born in 1876. And he bought 310 acres of the plantation that we came off of in Cherry Hill, North Carolina, Cherry Hill Plantation. So,
Yes, sir.
He was a farmer. He had 310 acres. He sold tobacco, other cash crops, and then
That was a big deal in that time too.
and timber. He
Yeah,
had his
yeah.
own beautiful house. We've been there.
Yeah.
I didn't take you there when we were kids.
100%. I've been up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
So,
some pictures on the steps.
so that's your lineage. That's your heritage.
100%.
And then we had a glitch with my father.
Mhm.
And then since I really didn't have a father really growing up,
Yeah.
I had to kind of figure some things out on my own.
Yeah.
And I always wanted you and your siblings to have a good relationship with me.
100%.
But talk for a second. We can kick this back and forth.
For sure. Absolutely.
I probably always wasn't a great father, and it seems like you and I have a different relationship now.
Correct.
Than when you used to have to cut the grass.
Yeah.
we live on
Those
we live
eras.
on a half acre. We're grass farmers. We have a big lot here.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to cut all that grass when
Nope.
I'm out working every day. So
Correct.
kind of talk to me about some of those early days with you being my son, and you kind of see my nose to the grindstone back in those days. 'Cause my
100%.
focus was to make sure that
There was food on the table, and there was
over your head,
lights, and we had clothes, the essentials.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. It was funny because I can kick back to a whole different story. After I moved out of the house, you and I sat down for the first time. Like, I felt like I was an equal to you. I felt like what I said was heard, and not you were just yeah kind of thing. And you asked me the same question, but you kind of phrased it differently. You were like, did I do a good job? Was I a good father? And I could tell that it wasn't like a sympathy question. It was you really wanted to know what my answer was.
I don't remember.
Y'all got you. And so my response was, I remember it to this day. It was, I said, I think you did the best with what you knew to do. But I think in the areas that you could have did better was the relationship side. I think you did good in the areas that you saw your father did good. He did good in the provision. He did good in the, having a place to lay your head and things of that nature. But where I thought that you could, we could have both been better was the relationship side. You would often say, "Oh man, you like hanging out with your mom more." I'm like, "Ah man, mom don't yell at me. She doesn't, she asks me questions. She doesn't." And then the older I got,
your mom was the person you feared the most, and you don't want her to come to school, right?
No, a different reason. When you came to school, it was red. It was red. With mom, it was the yellow, purple, greenish. We didn't know.
You were in trouble when your mother came to school.
100%.
I wasn't the person that you
was like. I wasn't.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't always you. No. I agree. We're not going. We're not going to plant the flag. Correct. And so I was like, I said, Dad, you talk to me like I'm part of your platoon. You talk to me like I'm an employee.
I was a United States Army infantry airborne.
Correct.
Aerosol platoon leader.
Correct.
I've jumped out of stuff in the sky.
Big deal.
Panama,
all that kind of stuff.
Short of combat though. Yeah, I was a soldier. I'm military.
And I always tell people, like, I feel like I didn't have to go to the military because I feel like I was raised military. As far as the standards and the morals and the ethics and things of that nature. But all in all, I still, with all that having been said, I don't think I'm who I am if I don't have the father that I did have. Because what you did instill was work ethic. You instilled drive. You instilled inspiration, motivation, and all around you just you were a man's man. You know what I mean? With the push-ups, with the pull-ups, with the provision, with the you didn't create ease for me. If I had an issue, you would say, "Hey man, figure it out. Hey man, how we gonna do it? Hey man, did you ever think about doing it this way?" But I just thought that we could have been better, the father and son relationship on that tip. Is I was like, I think that you couldn't see me as a man when I was a boy naturally, because that's not the time to be a man, But all in all, I was just like, damn, like we can laugh together, we can hang out. There was times when
I didn't do a lot of laughing, did I?
No, I was just getting on that, and it was like there was times when I'd be laughing at a video. I would see you come around the corner, and I just kind of wait for you to pass, go in the other room, close the door, and I go back to watching the video, and I'm like, damn, and I never thought that you were an evil person, you were a wicked dude. I never thought these things, but I was like, it was like sometimes I would think, yo, why did this guy have kids? Like, if you don't like me, why you have me? And so you get older, and then I think the dope part about getting older, in my opinion, if you're doing it right, you actually start to see your parents as people. And when you start to see them as people, you start to extend grace. You start to talk to them. And I think that's big with me, because like when you get to talk to a person, when you get to know a person, you understand why they do and say the things that they say and do, whether they be right or wrong, but you understand them. And so the conversation that you and I have had in just these last 5 years alone, I'm like, I wouldn't say I just get you, but like I understand why you used to say and do certain things. I understand why you didn't like to go out on the weekends, and because like you're working all Monday through Friday, you want to be home Saturday, Sunday. You want to watch football Saturday, Sunday, college on Saturday, maybe a couple of professional games that you like to, that you're anticipating watching on Sunday. And it just gave me a different respect, because growing up, I would have a lot of resentment towards you, because I'm like, man, now you don't want to be, don't touch me, tell me, you know what I mean? So, but then you get older and it's like, damn, he's human. He was operating like a human. He wasn't operating like a machine. The guy had to work like a machine, so we didn't have to work like a machine, But I just give thanks for the sacrifices that you made, the hard decisions you had to make that even I still will never know, on purpose and for a purpose. But all in all, I think we just could have just did better in the relationship side. But I don't think you lacked as a father and overall. I don't think you lacked as a man ever. I don't think you lacked as a leader and guide ever. I just thought that we could have just been closer. I think we could have laughed more. I think we could have talked more. I think we could have been less serious. I think we could have been more intentional. But nowhere else did I feel like you lacked, like at all. at all. Because we did do a lot of things together. We snowboarded, we golfed, we kayaked, we canoed, we swam, we biked, we hiked,
We took vacations together.
we took vacations
I let you
together.
drive across Kansas.
You
for me one
sure
year.
did, both ways, 2017.
And I let you drive when you were like 8 years old.
You were 12.
12? No, you were driving before 12. I think you were maybe about 10. I used to let
Behind
you
the wheel
drive.
on my own.
Yes.
Okay.
I used
Oh,
to
we
let-
talking about
I
back in the
I used
backyard.
to let you drive on the
Yes.
property,
You're
make
right. You're right.
I gave you the keys early.
Mom hated it, but you let the boy.
Then I think probably by the time you're 12, I would let you say, okay, drive around the block.
Yes, and then come
Drive
back.
around the block.
That is
drive
correct.
around the block.
That is correct. So there was never a lack of love between you and I. It was never a lack of respect between you and I. It was just a lack of connection.
I was just kind of stern. Huh?
Yeah, and I think the connection that you lacked is the connection you never saw. So that's why when I get older, I'm like, I can't be too mad. I just have to love him for where he was at. And now look at us. Since I moved out, since I've gotten married, since I've grown into my own. Now we can chop it up. Now I send you texts. Now I send you song requests. I said, bro, listen to this song. Now I say, man, you trying to get a steak tonight? Mom's out of town. Let's go kick it. You know what I mean? So I think that we're right where we should be, right where we ought to be. And it's beautiful, brother.
Well, I never had physical contact with my father.
Correct.
Except he's hitting you or beating you up, and you're not physically, he doesn't hug you, you don't touch him.
There's no warmth.
Right. And so I grew up, without being touched.
Right.
And
right.
we didn't have a lot of that in our home. And Mama would touch me, and that was okay. But
Yeah.
my father never touched me.
But it wasn't like, hey man, I see
No,
you. It wasn't. He never did this.
No, we never.
He never did this.
There was never
never
any embracing. That never happened.
Yeah.
And to the extent that that's happened, that's been in our 50s and 60s.
Correct.
Correct. As 80s and
yeah. Later years, upper years.
So we never did that.
Yes, sir.
And so I knew that I had to be different.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle to be different because of the
It was
examples
new.
I had, but I knew I had to be.
Yes, sir.
And I knew that it was my responsibility, and that I couldn't blame my father or anyone else for how I was treating my own children. So I had to kind of work through that. But early on, your mother, there were days she made me kiss you and your brother.
Yeah.
she made me hug you guys. She said, "You're gonna," and she'd be peeking around the corner.
Yeah, I think I remember some of the times when she was looking. She was like, and then you would leave, and she's like, "Did your father give you a hug?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Okay, I'm just making sure." I'm like, "Oh, dang, I didn't know that's what it was."
I had coffee with your brother.
Yeah.
Just this past week.
Beautiful.
On Monday.
Beautiful.
And he hugged me and said, "Dad, I love you."
See. And what does that do for you when you hear me, what I just said, him with the reactions, the interactions? What does that do for you now, looking back on in the past how it was not that way?
I mean, I think I like it, but I'll honestly tell you, I'm never ever going to be perfectly comfortable with that.
Correct.
It's just a different thing.
Correct.
So I don't know what it feels like to have a father
who you want to do that
who you
with.
want to hug. I don't know. So it's a strange juxtaposition.
Got you.
It's strange. So
yeah.
I mean, I do it, and I'm not afraid. But it's just I don't really know.
It's not. It's not innately in you the way it is in me.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then I wonder how that feels for you to have a father who who would give his life for you.
I told you often that the way in which you succeeded to me wasn't even in necessarily the fatherhood aspect, but I think you succeeded to me in the way of you did not repeat the mistakes that were dealt and went to you. Any man or woman who does that, to me, that's a winner, because I have to think about it from your POV. I'm like, he wasn't raised with somebody telling him I love you. You used to tag me with that I love you all the time. You would jump on me, and I'm a young guy. You said I love you, and I'm like 7 or 8. When it's not cool to say it back. Yeah, okay, yeah, I love you too. You're like, no, tell me you love. And I'm like, and then and now I'm like, this guy didn't have that, but you did it as though I can tell you did it with the spirit of this is how you would have wanted it. And so that to me is where the love was. But I think the worst person, in my opinion, is a person who was done wrong, knows what that feels like, and then goes and recreates that on or to somebody else. To me, that's worse than the initial abuser, because you know how that feels. You know what that's like to be by yourself. You know what that's like to be left alone. You know what that's like to sleep outside. And you cause somebody else to go through the same things you went through when it was very 100% avoidable. But that's where you succeeded. It's because you didn't recreate your situations and stances on me.
Well,
That's the W. That's the W.
I just always thought it was really strange how a man could have children
Mm-hmm.
and literally just behave as if and act as if he hated them. And then
That's
physically
asinine.
just bring violence and just wreak havoc and hell on them
Yeah.
routinely. So
Right.
I knew I wasn't going to be like that, but I
Yeah.
think I could have been more joyful,
Mhm.
and I wasn't in those days.
Right.
And there's no excuse for it. I mean,
Respect.
there's
That's
no
big on you for
but
owning it.
about it. I just, I was just really serious. I was
Yeah.
dialed in.
Yeah.
What are we here for? What are we to do?
Yeah.
What's the business? What's the mission?
Yeah.
And then I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That was it.
You treated fatherhood early years for me like you were on a military assignment. And now that you're off of that assignment, you can look back and say, man, I could have did that better. Oh man, I could have swam 5 minutes longer. Oh man, I could have taken him ride his bike a little longer.
Or
and
just
so-
been a little bit more
Present.
I would say I don't know, playful or
Right.
joyful, or I'm not a happy-go-lucky. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not a
You're,
sad
yeah,
person,
you're not a sad. You're not negative
Not at
sad, not by any means.
but I'm, by
But just
nature,
more whimsical.
yeah, more whimsical. That's the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And I was just always kind of serious. And,
Yeah.
what's the point? What's the purpose?
Right, like, why are we
what
here?
gonna do? Let's
What,
get that done.
like,
get
what is there
out.
to execute? Yeah.
So I was like that, and
But I think since you know that,
Mhm.
since then you have developed those skills. Even at the even at the most minute detail, you still have implemented that in some way. So like, what you know what I'm saying? We just have better interactions now, and like I can tell that you know that you didn't have.
But we have for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
now.
We have for a very long time now.
Yeah.
So like, we're going on a good 7-8 run.
Not 10 years or more.
Yeah.
Even your high school years.
Yeah, later high
I
school years,
just
it
kinda
was
like,
like,
fine.
you did drop back a little bit. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I mean, you put it more neutral now. You know what I'm saying? But but no, you have definitely done a very better work on you, and then all around. You've made more attempts than you have in the past, whether they be good or bad, whatever, in the middle, indifferent. It doesn't matter. But just more present and more joyful.
And then too, you have 3 other siblings. You have a
Correct.
brother and 2 sisters.
Correct.
They each see me differently too, and then they're older than you.
Correct.
And you're the youngest. So
Correct. They told me years ago that I was talking with my older sister, and she was telling me and she was kind of giving me game that I didn't even know I needed.
Mhm.
She was like, "You have a different version of mom and dad than I did." And my first response, I'm like 13, 14. My first response, "You tripping? What you talking about? Dad, same punishment, same happiness, same happiness." She's like, "No. Dad was a different cat before you got here." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "He was way more stern. He was way more direct. He was way more focused. He was way more he was quick tempered. It was like the happy button kind of wasn't there." But then when I asked her why, she was like, situationally, 4 people to a smaller setup. You got to deal with these family members saying this. You got to deal with now you got to go to work after you didn't deal with the family stuff. Now you got to deal with work saying this. So it's like dad has more ease in his life now than he ever did when he was raising us.
So the younger kids usually get a better deal.
That's usually how it goes.
I didn't. My family.
Right.
We all got it bad.
We all equally dished out.
Didn't matter. But I mean, Haley and I were texting today, and she always talks about how much she loves me. So I don't think she ever had anything but just like
she didn't have anything but 5-star, 100% on Rotten Tomato reviews.
Yeah, she's always,
Yeah.
She probably would give me higher marks than any of you guys.
I agree.
Because she's my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
parents are different
True.
with their children.
True.
And then the time that as you said, you come onto the scene, you're getting a different version of that
100%.
parent. Let me ask you some questions, right? So based upon what you know about your lineage, your family history, your
Yes, sir.
ancestors, and some of the things that I've told you about them, and then some of the things you've seen for yourself firsthand.
Yes, sir.
Remember that day my sister Dottie died, how my father was that day.
I remember that whole day. I could play it back in memory.
So we don't want to recount that, but
Correct.
so you've seen all of that
all
stuff,
sides, yeah.
and then you've seen the impact it's had on me, and how that kind of filtered into our family.
Correct.
As best I could try to filter it. Okay,
Correct.
so that said,
Yes, sir.
what kind of father do you look? If you told me tomorrow I was gonna be a grandfather,
I know.
I was just like, 'cause I love kids.
Yes,
You know me?
yes.
Children are my world.
Yes,
I love
the more
kids.
the merrier. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
You could lock me in a room with a bunch of little runny nose, little 3, 4, 5. My energy would go up. I love
10,000%.
people my age. I don't have time for you.
Correct.
Bring my energy down. So kids boost me up. So I love kids.
Right.
Had a kid, I would just probably try to confiscate them. But
100%.
what kind of father do you think that you would be?
I think about that.
Based upon everything we've talked about, what you've seen and what you know,
yes, sir.
and how you and I have kind of evolved a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on now, it's on you. What do you think? How do you think you'd do that?
I think I would implement a lot of what you instilled in me for me to even have to say to you what I've said to you. But I think overall, I would be like 2 major words. I would be fun, and I would be strong. You know, so fun. The fun box would be, playing around, playing hide and go seek, scaring him, hiding behind a corner and jumping out. Surprising him with the gifts that I said he wasn't going to get.
The sternness that you thought I was too stern about earlier.
Yes.
You wouldn't be like that with my grandson. I wouldn't.
I would be when it's time for it, because I think that you had the wheelhouse to be what I'm saying I would be, but the access and the resources weren't there mentally for you to pull from. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, like, I'm stern when it's time to be. So essentially, how I am as a person, I'll be that person towards my son or daughter. I don't need to live on high alert. I don't need to live, at the bottom of the string. I don't need to live like that. When it's time to be serious, be serious. 100 million%. But when it's not, you can loosen up. I can joke with him. I can push him. He can push me back. I push him. He push me back.
And then I'll be there. And remember when you and I remember, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be like the most protective,
100%.
cover,
I already
helicoptery,
security guard
ever. Oh my gosh.
100%.
I'm not kidding. I will
100%.
You have a boy or girl, doesn't matter.
100%.
I agree. I'll be the best grandparent ever. I don't know how you can. Okay, you can be not the best parent.
Correct. There's a way you can have
as you said about me, right?
Correct. Thank you. Correct. Yes, sir.
Being a grandparent, who can mess that up? Right? You gotta be
a select few.
You can send them. You can ship them back home.
Yeah, you don't have to do much,
right? Well, I'm gonna do a whole lot.
I know you're gonna go back and forth. But overall, I would just be loving. I would be funny. I would be strict when needed. I would be the guiding light when needed. But overall, I'd just be somebody that I would always want to be the type of person my son or daughter would never fear coming to. Anything.
No, they should never fear you. Kids should never fear their parents.
I want them to know it's a certain standard, a certain level of respect, a certain level of morals and ethics. Yeah. But I never want to be
afraid
feared.
No.
I never want to be feared. Revered, not feared.
No. I was scared to death of my father.
Yeah.
The sound of his voice would just make you pee your pants.
Right. And that's not the kind of response you want to garnish from a child.
He was.
I love it when you walk in a room and the kids that you love, the kids that I love, they go, Anderson's here. Oh my! I live for that emotion, and I'm not even that child's father, that child's uncle, because it's like for a child to like you, they don't have to like you.
Yeah. Kids are a great judge of character, by the way. They're
we always, as adults, think that kids are the dumb ones. They think ignorant, stupid.
No,
they can smell everything on you that you think you're hiding well. No. They know when you're lying. They know when you're telling the truth. They know when you like them. They know when you love them. They know when you care for them.
I trust kids immensely.
100%. If a kid I really like doesn't like somebody else, I go, why? I go, there's something up, there's something I don't know.
Don't force kids to go places.
Yeah, and another thing I don't do, I don't like to physically force myself on kids. So it's like if they don't want to hug me, you don't have to hug me. Yeah. I don't like the parents, go hug your Uncle Anderson. No, it's okay. Because I want it to be mutual.
There's this kid we both know. His name is Micah, right?
Special kid.
I love that kid. When he was
Mr. B.
When he was a little baby,
yeah, right.
He did not want anything to do with me when he was a little baby.
I remember that.
And I used to look at him one day. I gave him the space, but I said one day I just tell myself one day he's gonna be my friend. And now I go to his baseball games.
Yeah.
I go to his dance recitals. He was a
Special
baby.
kid.
Now he's
Yeah.
a big guy now.
Yeah, now he's a little man.
So I give him their space, but I don't force it. But
Right.
I'm not gonna let a kid get away without being my friend or something.
I agree. I'm gonna have to reel you
They
in.
will be converted.
It's gonna be ice cream. It's gonna
I will
be.
bribe. I will pander. I will ingratiate myself. Yes, to any kid. Please, please. I will.
Yeah.
I'm bending knees.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree, but yes.
Do you think you ever would like to be a father? You don't want to answer that right now.
I can answer that.
Answer it.
That answer has changed in a matter of like the last
Okay. All right.
So
So
it used to be a strong no. Now
I know.
it's,
Well, you told me no, right?
now it's like being with the right woman, being around her for some time since being married. You know, you have some more time to have a lot more conversations. You know, dive a little deeper, get a better understanding of us. You know what our future looks like. And I'm like, I see us being parents.
Well, I'm
Not
happy
now.
about it.
Nothing's jumping off yet. Nothing's jumping off yet.
Sure.
But in the future, I do see that.
Let me just say this. I now am going to envision the day where there's this
Please do.
little baby
That
in diapers sitting right here,
Mhm.
and we're telling stories.
And I'm holding no boy. You hold no boy.
I'll be holding. I'll be holding. And we'll be telling this child about
All
their
the love.
history, but this child will be having love just poured
Mhm.
in,
Mhm.
right? And I can't wait. And that's what I do every day. I pour into the
Yes,
lives
sir.
of children.
Yes, sir.
And now I want to do that with a child that's called by my name, that's alive because I
Beautiful.
live.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait to come here and introduce this little baby child to the whole viewing audience of
United
whoever
States of
watches
America.
the whole world. And honestly, and this sounds kind of weird, but I think after I do that with just one grandchild, I'll feel like my life made sense. It's 360. I'm okay. I'm at peace. This thing makes sense to me.
What does that feeling stem from?
I don't know. I think everybody wants to see. I'm going to say everybody. That's a hasty generalization.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Mhm.
And people don't have to feel this way.
Right.
No, but for me, I think sometimes we want to see an offspring, a continuation,
Yeah.
a replication,
That's true.
a reproduction, right,
Yeah.
of who we were, and who we are.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a grandchild and just talk to them and tell them stories. Just to tell them who I am and just look at them, and then I'll see my future that I will not be alive to see. And that's what it is for me. I'll see my future that I won't be alive to see, and I can leave this life
That much
enriched and happy. I only have one question for God, just one. Why did children ever have to grow up? What was the point of that? They're just so beautiful. They're so
intelligent.
Why do they
They're
have
so
to
beautiful.
become like me?
They're so cool. They're so innocent.
What was the point of it? I guess so parents wouldn't have to
be changing
carry them
diapers
around forever, right?
For 60 years.
Yeah, that's just the only question I have.
Yeah.
I mean, you know who Mateo is.
Special
You
brother.
know who Emilio is.
Special brother.
And when I see these little boys and they're in diapers,
Yeah.
they've done nothing for anybody except poop in their pants. And when I see these little boys, I just like
revere.
Like I'm gonna see Harvey and Avery tomorrow.
Special people right there too.
And when I see these little blonde and blue-eyed boys tomorrow, right? I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
Because
every time.
I see them growing up and they're like 4 and trying to be 3 and trying to be 5.
Woo-wee.
And I've known them, we've known their parents before they were born.
Right.
In a lot of these cases. And so to watch these kids and watch them grow up, it's just like everything to me. I just like them at the stage they're at. I'm like, oh, please don't have another birthday tomorrow.
Right. Slow it down.
Mateo was running around the other day, and Mom wasn't around. And Dad was around, and he was running out the door, running out to the sidewalk of the street. And he moves faster than me. The guy is.
He got some wheels.
I caught up with him.
Pedaling.
I'm like, no, you can't do that. He has no fear. He doesn't have no fear.
Yeah.
Hasn't entered into their imagination that they can't do something.
I agree.
And so we love them. But I would love to come on this call one day and sit a child
right in between.
Here.
Yeah.
And then I'll feel like my life is fully complete. No pressure. I mean, just,
No, that's not pressure at all. That's beautiful.
I love children.
That's poetic.
Love them. Wow, I'm happy to see you.
Always
yeah.
me same.
Haven't seen you
Me
in
as
a
well.
while.
Right. Been a while.
A lot of great things going on. I want to talk to you about.
Yes, sir.
I feel like I have more verve, vitality, and vigor for teaching than I ever have had in 32 years. I feel like I have not yet begun. John
The best
Paul
is still
Jones,
yet to.
the best is still to come. Despite what we're seeing,
Yeah.
hope, keep hope alive. Things are going to get better. This too shall pass, and all will be well.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Hey, let's go see what's happening upstairs with the women.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
All right.
Y'all be well.